So I need to start this video off by thanking all of you who in a few videos ago gave me all the feedback on what to do with this flow control valve that was leaking on the 37D, the valve that I had put on to try to slow down the conveyor. I'm going to give you a quick update on that, let you know where things are at. Yeah, they're not really any better off than where I was before I even started this whole thing. So to start with, I went to another local hydraulic shop and they recommended using this on the threads. So I took the valve apart, I put this on, I put it back together. It still leaked. So then I took this whole valve into that shop and they put on, you can see there, they put on some tape, some thread tape, and that ended up working. So the valve no longer leaks. Now I know there was a lot of comments saying not to use the Teflon tape in a hydraulic system. I did check with the people who put that on. They said for this application with those threads, this is fine. You wouldn't want to use that on some other type of fitting. I forget what they mentioned. But anyway, they recommended that they said that this would be fine. The problem is now when I slow down the flow and I slow down the conveyor, when I restrict the flow to the conveyor, the splitter itself doesn't seem to run as efficiently. There's like just something off. It doesn't have, it's not the same as when I have it open. So I don't know what's going on with that. I've talked to Andrew a bunch of times. I know people have mentioned, you know, reach out to Eastonmade. I have talked to Andrew quite a bit. I'm going to be seeing him again coming up here in Boonville. For those of you who are going to the Boonville, the Woodman Field Day show up in Boonville, New York, I will be there. And so if you're going to the show, stop by, say hi. I will be at the Eastonmade booth Friday and Saturday. So we'll maybe get things figured out, but for now, I'm just going to be running the conveyor unrestricted flow, wide open like it was. And the reason is because I need to get some pine resplit and ready to go. I have a tote of red pine. Some of the splits are just a little too big for what the customer wants, so I need to resplit these down. I am, however, going to use the box wedge, and I want to see how this works, resplitting with the box wedge. But then I also want to see how this is going to work to resplit with, what else is now over here under the shelter? With the Japa 365 Pro. So I have another tote over here that I'm going to just run through. Obviously I won't need to cut it to length. I did remove the spring on this, so I will line up the pieces, send them in, down and through the wedge, up the conveyor. I got 2 totes over there, 2 totes over there. So because I need to get this pine resplit, I thought it would be a good opportunity to show resplitting with something like the box wedge, or I know this isn't what it's intended to be used for, but it would be, and it is possible to resplit with something like the Japa Firewood Processor. So we're going to see today. You guys let me know down in the comments which method you prefer, which one you think worked out better, the box wedge or the processor. Now, for those wondering, yes, this wood originally I split last year, and I split it big, I split it large, because I was thinking I would end up just burning it in my boiler. And I have other customers asking for pine, but they want the smaller splits. So that is the reason I am resplitting the pine that I had already split. I figure this pine is best suited for a campfire instead of in the boiler. So if I have somebody that wants it, I'll gladly take a little bit of extra time to resplit it down into a smaller split size and send it on its way. All right, so now here's something to think about. If you do run a box wedge and you ever do get into a situation where you want to resplit some wood down into smaller splits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pullback arm off. And the reason I'm taking the pullback arm off is if you think about this, so resplitting, a lot of those pieces, well, here, let me grab one, hang on. So if I'm resplitting this piece of wood right here, and I want to hit the middle of the wedge here, this top piece, once it gets split, I'm not going to need to resplit that again. I don't need to pull it back. So I take the pullback arm off. I'm going to use the box wedge still. I'm going to leave the box wedge on, just not going to have the pullback arm here to bring this piece back, which I would then have to manually toss onto the conveyor. This way, the next piece now, if there's this top will be sitting up here, the next piece, we'll push that on through, send it up the conveyor. At least that's what I'm thinking will work. All right, so that didn't work out too bad with the Eastonmade 37D and the box wedge. Taking that pullback arm off, I think really helped. Was able to just continuously feed the splits through for resplitting. It was nice to load up the log lift with a whole bunch ready to go. That is what's going to be a little bit different when we try it over here with the Japa. So I already think I'm going to have to be reloading this in-feed belt a lot more, just because it only holds about 4 pieces at a time. So the idea is I'll feed it in, it'll drop down, I'll send it through the wedge. I've got one down in there already. Send it through the 4-way, up the conveyor, and down into those totes. right, so I think from that little demonstration, I think it's pretty clear which of these machines is probably best suited for resplitting firewood. The Japa, it was just tough because when the pieces came in, they would fall down into the split chamber, but they wouldn't land always straight. And that's just because that's not what it's designed to do. It's designed to have a log come in, the saw cut the log off, and then that piece drops down into the split chamber. Here, where the pieces were just falling in, didn't really work out the best. It still resplit, obviously. But yeah, so the Japa 365 Plus Pro, if you had to, you could resplit with it. But I think the traditional log splitter is probably best suited for resplitting. And in this case, again, just wanted to show, if you have a box wedge with that pullback arm and you do need to resplit, take that pullback arm off, and then I think it makes resplitting much easier. So that'll do it. For those of you attending the Woodsman Field Day Show up there in Boonville, New York, this coming weekend on August 18th, 19th, and 20th. If you're there, I'll be there, so we'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, have fun, and be cool.